We're gonna go with skim levels of power. I'm so dead! Oh, I'm so dead! No. Hold out just a little longer. Just a little longer. Turn it to 6! Turn to 6! Don't rip my guts out! Oh, come on, dude!
The term horror is defined as an intense feeling of fear, shock, or disgust. Yet, the term fear is defined as an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. In contrast, a sister term related to fear is terror. Terror is defined as the period of the French Revolution between mid-1793 and July 1794, when the ruling Jacobin wait. Terror is defined as simply extreme fear. Now, both these definitions, horror and terror, are kinda loose and not really accurate. See, in contemporary media and literature, and just all-around modern thinking, we have the distinct separation of the two. So let's use magic to separate the two, and see how it could be done uniquely. Starting off with horror, we see this more closely tied with things that pose an immediate threat. You know you're horrified as soon as it happens, and that could be in tons of ways. Gore might not be scary for most people when they're ready for it, or if you see a corpse on an autopsy table. That's all expected, and we could easily get over it. But if we see somebody's head blown off randomly, that could very well give you a feeling of horror. A lot of classic horror movies would rely on the bloody shock factor, so they got the term slasher films. But in Magic the Gathering, horror is a lot harder to be effective, because of how ready a person is for something like art to be unsettling. Plus, the small frame of the card doesn't usually help. But then again, we also have an entire creature type named horror in the game, so like whatever, I guess. Horror cards really let us know when a huge disgusting threat is on the field, and for the most part, they translate very well. More than that, in a mechanical sense, we feel horror when somebody does something that makes us genuinely scared for our life points, I meant. So for me, a great example is seeing Bruna transform into Brasilla, when you're powerless to do anything about it. To pull this off, you need to play 2 huge angel cards that by themselves are already a huge threat, but at the end of your turn, they meld into this game-ending amalgam. Everything from the artwork itself being scary as hell, to the immediate feeling of dread once this huge monster is out, reeks of horror. Something really important about this is that you are aware of the threat beforehand. This makes it so you get that horror cold sweat moment, telling yourself, oh no, and you have no idea if this angel is going to flip or won't. But what is something scary that we don't know about? Well, in that case, we start treading into terror territory. Terror is most simply described as the fear of the unknown. We know there's something wrong, but we're not exactly sure what. It's not like horror where we see something disgusting and visceral and know we can just get away from it somehow. Instead, with terror, it's almost a fear that you can't really kill, that eats away at you. Psychological thrillers and scary movies fit this bill really well, because it always makes you question what's real and what's not. There are currently 9 cards in Magic with the word terror in the name, and one of them is simply named that. But how can something as subtle as terror be represented fully in a card game? Random chance! Right now in Standard, there's a deck that makes perfect use of terror, and no surprise its main 2 colors are blue and black, a color combination that represents the decay of the mind. You can hurt people with a creeping chill as things get close and closer. From the grave, you can send out illusions to plague the field, and then finally, in a single turn, send out a legion of ready birds of prey to swing in to claim the game. And even if the enemy manages to kill your birds, just like at the core of terror, they can just keep coming back, almost unkillable for most decks. My only gripe is that 2 of these cards don't really look scary. Oh, there we go, that's perfect. Wizards has done a lot of attempts to make cards that are scary or fit the Halloween bill in the past. Personally, though, I have yet to see it work. Not counting Innistrad. Innistrad is an entire gothic horror-inspired plane. It's going to be kinda scary. But I really do wish most cards were, like, spooky. Please, Wizards, I just want something a bit more than a scarecrow that costs 10 mana and then rarely works. For the time being, however, I cast All Hallows Eve. Happy Halloween, everybody.